Have you ever walked away from a conversation thinking I said the right thing, but I said it the wrong way? Proverbs 15 is basically a chapter on that tension, plus the heart underneath all of it. It's not only communication tips, but also wisdom lived full view of God. In Proverbs 15, I'm going to walk through the chapter in themes paraphrase so you can track it with your text. If you've got a Bible anyway. Quick note, Proverbs isn't written like a story. It's a collection of compact contrasts. Wise versus foolish, righteous versus wicked. But Proverbs 15 does have a flow. You can feel it circling three big questions. What do my words do? What does God see? And what kind of heart am I becoming? So let's move through the conversation, starting with the most obvious theme. This is Proverbs for Modern Life. I'm William Tarbush. In The Power of the Tongue, verses 1 through 7, the chapter opens with a contrast. A gentle answer has a way of turning down the temperature in a room, but harsh words don't respond to anger, they multiply it. Then it zooms out. Wisdom isn't just having knowledge, it's knowing how to use it. Wise speech takes truth and places it carefully. Foolish speech takes whatever's inside and just dumps it everywhere. And in the middle of all that, you get this reminder that changes everything. God sees. Not just the big spiritual moments, everyone, everywhere. The good, the evil, the whole room, and the whole conversation. So words aren't neutral. Some speech gives life, as it steadies you, heals you, and strengthens you. Other speech fractures people on the inside, and Proverbs connects that to teachability. If you're allergic to teachability, you're going to stay foolish. If you can receive discipline, you're already moving towards wisdom. There's even a practical angle. The righteous household has kind of durable treasure and stability, but crooked gain has built-in trouble. So the first movement is simple. Words reveal what you're made of, and they shape what other people become. In verses 8 through 11, we talked about God's evaluation, hearts, and actions. Next, Proverbs 15 pulls the camera away from God and puts it on God, from people and puts it on God. Here's the scene. You can bring religious activity, sacrifices, or other external stuff, and still be wrong with God. But a sincere prayer from an upright life, that's pleasing to Him. In other words, God isn't impressed with appearances. He evaluates the path you're actually walking. He loves the pursuit of righteousness. And then it gets sobering. If someone keeps abandoning the right path and refuses correction, there's a real threat to that road. And the reason is this. Nothing is hidden from God. Even the heart of the dead is open before Him. The realm of the dead is open before Him, so that how much more than the human heart? That means your private thought life and your public words are not separate categories to God. They're connected. In verses 12 through 14, we talk about the fool's resistance to correction. This section is blunt. The scoffer hates being corrected. Not just doesn't prefer it, hates it. So what do? They avoid wise people because wise people tell the truth. And Proverbs ties your inner world to your outer life. A glad heart shows up on your face. But prolonged heartache doesn't just make you sad, it crushes the spirit. Then you get this picture. A discerning heart has an appetite for knowledge. Fools snack on folly. That line is so practical. You don't drift into wisdom by accident. You have to develop a hunger for what's true. Contentment versus turmoil in verses 15 through 17. Now the theme shifts to your daily experience. Proverbs says, when you're afflicted, it can feel like every day is a bad day. But there's a kind heart, cheerful, steady, and grounded, that turns every day life into a continual feast. Then it gives two contrasts that cut out against our instincts. Little with reverence for the Lord beats a lot of money with anxiety and chaos. And a simple meal shared in love is better than a feast shared in an atmosphere of hatred. So Proverbs is teaching you to measure your life correctly. Peace, love, and reverence. Those are wealth, even when the plate is small. In verses 18 through 20, we talk about temperament and relationships. Then we're back to relationships. A hot-tempered person doesn't just have anger issues. They stir up conflict everywhere they go. But patience has this quiet power to calm the strife. And right next to that, you get the sluggard image. Laziness turns your path into something like a thorn patch. Everything feels difficult. but the upright person has a clear way forward, and then a family line. A wise child brings joy to a father, a foolish one despises his mother. So wisdom shows up at home first. Tone, effort, and honor. Verses 21 through 23 talk about folly, wisdom, and right planning. Here's another contrast. Folly is not just something fools do, it's something they enjoy. The discernment walks straight. Then Proverbs gets extremely practical. Plans fall when you refuse counsel. But with many advisors, plans succeed. And it ends this section with something we all know intuitively. A fitting reply matters. And a well-timed word said at the right moment can genuinely change someone's day. Verses 24 through 26 talk about life's trajectory. Proverbs 15 keeps talking like life is a path. The wise are walking upward and away from destruction. Then you see God's justice in action. He tears down the proud. He protects the vulnerable, like guarding a widow's boundaries. And again, God cares not just about what you say, but what you scheme. Evil plans are detestable to him, but pleasant, pure words, God receives those as good. And then closing contrasts are on greed, humility, and reverence in verses 27 through 33. The chapter closes by tying together money, speech, and spiritual posture. Greed doesn't just ruin your finances, it troubles your whole household. But refusing crooked gain is life-giving. Then you're back to speech. The righteous person thinks before speaking. The wicked overflow with evil as if there's no filter, no fear, and no restraint. And again, God's nearness is moral. He is far from the wicked, but he hears the righteous. You get this oddly tender line about joy. A bright countenance lifts others. Good news refreshes the body. And then Proverbs lands the plane on correction and humility. Life-giving reproof puts you among the wise. Rejecting discipline is self-harm. Receiving correction grows understanding. And the final summary is one of the clearest in the whole book. Reverence for the Lord is instruction and wisdom. Humility comes before honor. Let me give you 3 threads to trace as you sit with Proverbs 15 this week. Thread 1, speech. Notice how often the chapter refers to tone, timing, and restraint. The question isn't only, is it true, but also, is it gentle? Is it wise? Is it the right moment? Proverbs keeps reminding you in thread 2 that God is watching. That's not paranoia. That's accountability and comfort. Your life is lived before him as a sacrifice. What are you sacrificing to? Thread 3. Contentment, humility, and teachability. Proverbs doesn't treat these like personality traits. It treats them like spiritual choices that form you over time. If I had to summarize Proverbs 15 in one line, it'd be this. Wisdom sounds like gentleness, and it starts with a teachable heart under the eyes of God. If this was helpful, you can like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's trying to grow in their words and their walk. And if you want, tell me in the comments what verse or theme from Proverbs 15 did you need today. This was Proverbs for Modern Life. I'm William Tarbush. I'll see you next time.